let's touch grass and talk about why you're studying wrong. It isn't your fault. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. It is your fault. And I'm not going to enable your bad habits. Tell me if this sounds like you. Whenever someone says they're going to study, they announce it loudly, make a big deal about it, say they have to be focused. They have a ginormous textbook, all their notebooks, every highlighter they own. I mean, maybe there's a tablet or a laptop. Their phone or device is set up with a perfect playlist that they spent 20 minutes trying to find. Anyway, they do more mise en place than most chefs, and once everything is set up in its perfect place, oh no, suddenly it's time for a break. Because you really deserve that break. You've been, so focused and working so hard getting everything set up to study. And, you deserve that break. So 40 minutes go by, and, you look up from TikTok or social media, and then you realize that notebook is still there. And your soul is already leaving your body because you're desperately wanting to not do this. You want to do anything but study. But dude, you haven't even started studying yet. I'm not going to pretend that studying is fun. I can't lie that hard. I'm a teacher, not a politician. First issue. A lot of students approach studying as learning for the first time. What does that mean? Well, they try to reread their course materials like their textbooks, handouts, slides, and notes. If they didn't take notes the first time, they spend time writing notes. But, that's what you should have done when it was all assigned the first time to you. So either you're playing catch up or you're redoing stuff you've already done. Now, some people may automatically be telling me through the screen that I'm wrong, you need to refresh your memory, but hang tight. Rereading stuff is not actually studying. It's just exposure to information. I know, some of you are already, again, pulling up that argument. That's fine. I don't need everybody to agree with me. My self-esteem will recover. But here's the thing. I can't think of a single style of test that just wants you to info dump everything you know in random order on a blank sheet of paper. This means that even if you know the stuff, you haven't practiced what to do with it. That's the whole point of studying. Studying is not proving what you already know. Studying is finding what you don't know and changing that. What's the fix? Well, first you have to find out what you don't know. Take a blank sheet of paper and write down every topic you remember from the unit. Then go back to each topic and add as much detail as you remember for that topic. If you know a lot, cool. You clearly don't need to spend extra time on that. If you have a lot of blanks, or if you go back and realized you missed an entire topic, well, here you go. Study that stuff. Now that you know what you don't know, don't waste your time rereading. Actually do something with those topics and ideas. There's, the usual stuff of making flashcards and practice tests and questions, sure, but even though it works for a lot of people, I personally always hated that. I would always remember what the flashcard looked like, but not what was on it. Yay, such helpful, much useful. What actually helps me when I need to study is to explain it to someone else. My dog may as well be listed on my history masters because I info dumped so much to him on the difference between Stalinism and communism and the intersection of race, gender, and criminalization. Seriously, he has PTSD. He runs away from me every time I say the word historiography. So you don't have to monologue to a living creature, although that is my preferred and suggested method. You can sit in your room and talk to the wall. You can put on the Mario soundtrack and talk about the Columbian Exchange while Coconut Mall plays on loop in the background. You do you, pal. When you explain something out loud, you immediately discover where the gaps are. The parts you can explain confidently, great. The parts where you suddenly stop and stare into the abyss, well, that's what you actually need to study. By taking the time to set up the monologue and reference your notes and effectively teach someone else, you are filling in gaps and practicing the skill of explanation. You can level up your skills if you do some historical skills like compare and contrast, like compare it to another history event or person or idea. If you discuss how this fits into things, staying the same or changing over time. If you look at cause and effect or significance. So in a nutshell, you are studying wrong by acting as if you are learning stuff for the first time. You aren't. Well, unless you slept through class. So treat yourself as if you are actually reviewing, not learning, by doing an active skill. Explain it to someone else, make flashcards, create and do a practice test, and so on and so forth. Okay, we've touched enough grass for today. Bye.